She seemed like the perfect girlfriend, but for 2 years, she hid a shocking secret. One message exposed her betrayal. You won't believe what happened next. Can he forgive her? Will her lies destroy everything? Dive into this story of deceit, where every detail hits like a punch, and the truth changes it all. I was standing in the doorway of Tara's apartment, holding his phone after he asked me to check for a missed call from a client. The screen lit up, and a message from Alexei, work, popped up. Can't wait till he leaves again. Just you and me. My hand trembled, my pulse pounding in my temples. Tara's, my best friend, was in the next room, laughing with Alina, his girlfriend, as she chopped vegetables for dinner. Her voice, light and carefree, hummed a tune, but I knew this wasn't a mistake. I checked the contacts, no Alexei at her job. The number was unknown, but the message cut like a knife. 2 years. 2 years she looked Tara's in the eyes, hugged him, planned their future, all while hiding a secret. My mind raced. Tell him now, right here in the kitchen? Or wait until I had more proof? But the shock of what I'd seen was like a lightning bolt. I couldn't stay silent. Her smile, which I once admired, now looked like a mask. How could she lie so perfectly? I gripped the phone, anger mixing with pain for my friend. Tara's deserved the truth, but I knew it would shatter his world. My legs carried me to the kitchen. Alina looked up, smiled, but I saw the falseness in her. Tara's, come out for a sec, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked puzzled but followed me to the hallway. I handed him the phone. His face froze as he read the message. He glanced at Alina, still humming, and I saw a shadow of doubt flicker in his eyes. This was the beginning of the end of their story, and I knew the truth behind that message would tear everything apart. Tara's and Alina seemed like a couple from a commercial. He was a programmer. She was a marketer, together for 3 years. Alina was the life of the party. She cooked Tara's breakfast, planned their trips, reminded him about doctor's appointments. Her care seemed genuine, and I used to think Tara's was lucky. But after that message, I started seeing cracks in her perfect image. Her phone was always face down, even when she was just sipping coffee at the table. She never answered calls around Tara's, only typed quick messages, shielding the screen with her hand. Once, when I was at their place, her phone rang. She grabbed it, silenced it, and slipped into the bedroom. Work, she said when she returned, but I noticed her fingers nervously clutching the case. Tara's didn't bat an eye. He was blindly in love. I started recalling other details, how Alina suddenly began staying late at work, how she dodged questions about her colleagues, how her stories about weekends with friends sounded vague. One evening, I spotted her in a cafe when she told Tara she was at the office. She was alone, but her eyes kept darting to her phone, like she was waiting for someone. I didn't say anything, but the unease grew. Her behavior was a puzzle, each piece screaming something was wrong. I couldn't stay silent anymore. Tara's deserved the truth, but how do you convince someone who sees only the good in her? I decided to tread carefully, pointing out the small things he overlooked. This was the first step toward exposing her, and I knew the road would be painful. I invited Tara's for a beer at a quiet pub to talk without Alina around. He looked tired but smiled, talking about how he and Alina were planning a beach vacation. I couldn't hold back and pulled out my phone, showing him the screenshot of the message from Alexei. This isn't a joke, Tara's. It's from her phone. His face froze, his eyes scanning the screen. It's probably a mistake. Alina's not like that, he said, but his voice shook. I pressed. Just watch her. Notice what she does when she thinks you're not looking. Tara's brushed it off, but I saw doubt in his eyes. I told him about her odd behavior, the face-down phone, avoiding calls, the late nights at work. You're her boyfriend, Tara's. You have a right to know what's going on. He stared into his glass, silent, like he was searching for answers in the phone. I knew he was scared of the truth, but there was no turning back. The next day, he called and said he noticed Alina getting nervous when he touched her phone. She snatched it from my hands, said it's her personal space, he admitted. It was a small step, but a big one. I could tell he was starting to see the cracks in her perfect facade. My goal wasn't to break his heart, but to help him open his eyes. I knew a storm was coming, and Tara's had to be ready. Tara started watching Alina, though reluctantly. He noticed her late meetings became regular. She'd come home after 10, smelling of unfamiliar perfume. Once, she said she was at the office, but her friend Katia let slip she saw Alina at a cafe with some guy. Tara's felt anger boil in his chest but held back from making a scene. He asked her about that evening, trying to sound casual. She answered too quickly, "Oh, it was a client meeting." But her eyes avoided his, her fingers nervously twisting her ring. Tara's checked her social media, but she meticulously cleared her chats. It only fueled his suspicions. One night, he saw her smiling at a message, but when he approached, she locked her phone. "Work," she said, her voice tense. Terrace felt the lies thickening, but he lacked proof. He didn't want to believe Alina could betray him, but every news sign screamed she was. His mind wrestled between love and truth, tearing him apart. He began doubting himself. Was he paranoid? But the small inconsistencies, her excuses, her nervousness, kept him up at night. He realized he couldn't confront her without evidence. This was the moment he decided to dig deeper, even if the truth would destroy him. Terrace took action. Late at night, while Alina slept, he grabbed her laptop. In a hidden folder, he found photos, Alina with a stranger in restaurants, parks, on vacations she said were with friends. In one, they were kissing, her arms around his neck. Terrace felt his heart rip apart, but he kept going. He copied everything to a flash drive, covering his tracks. The next day, he checked her email using a saved password and found messages with Alexei, Tinder words, plans for meetups, even a joke about how easy it was to fool Terrace. "He doesn't even suspect," she wrote. 2 years of lies unfolded before him. Each email was a stab, but Terrace knew hysterics wouldn't solve anything. He needed the full truth, and he was ready to find it. He analyzed the dates on the photos, matching them to her excuses. Everything lined up. Every work trip, every girls' night was a cover. The pain was unbearable, but Terrace held himself together. He knew Alina played her role flawlessly, and he had to be smarter. His investigation became his armor, shielding him from the pain eating him alive. Terrace tried talking to Alina, hoping she'd come clean. "You've been acting strange lately. Is something up?" he asked over dinner, keeping his tone even. She exploded. "You don't trust me? I'm sick of your suspicions." Her anger was a shield, and she deftly turned the conversation, accusing him of paranoia. "You're ruining our relationship," she snapped, and Terrace backed off. But in her eyes, he saw panic, a fleeting loss of control. It only strengthened his resolve. He noticed she got more cautious, checking if he was nearby when she texted, even changing her phone password. Her efforts to hide the truth only confirmed she was scared of being caught. Terrace felt he was closing in, but her manipulations made him doubt. What if he was wrong? But the evidence he'd gathered was undeniable. He resolved not to give up, even as Alina played the victim. Her performance was impeccable, but he could see the truth behind it. Terrace went further. He installed a tracking app on her phone when she left it unlocked. The next week, he saw she wasn't at the office but at a downtown hotel. He drove there, his heart pounding. In the lobby, he saw her with Alexei. They were laughing, holding hands, like a couple in love. Alina looked happier than she'd been with Terrace in ages. He didn't approach. He pulled out his phone and snapped photos, his hands shaking with rage. This was the final proof he needed. The pain tore at him, but he stayed composed. Alina thought she was smarter than everyone, that her lies would never unravel. She was wrong. Terrace went home and added the photos to his evidence. He knew the moment of truth was near, and he'd be ready. His investigation was complete. He had everything to enter game. Terrace compiled all the evidence, messages, photos, location data. 2 years of lies lay before him like an open book. He sat in his car for hours, reviewing them, feeling his love for Alina die. Her smile, her words, everything he thought was real was fake. He recalled her hugs, her talk of their future, and each memory was poisoned by the truth. But he didn't rush. Emotions could ruin everything, and he knew it. Terrace analyzed every piece, cross-checked dates, built a timeline of her betrayal. It was painful but necessary. Alina kept playing the perfect girlfriend, unaware he knew everything. She made him coffee, laughed at his jokes, but her confidence grated on him. He saw her check her phone, glance at him quickly, like she sensed danger. But she couldn't stop what he'd started. Terrace was preparing for the final step, his resolve cold as steel. He waited for the moment to lay the truth before her and watch her mask crumble. Terrace transformed. Gone was the naive guy who believed Alina's every word. He became calculating, strategic. He met with a lawyer to protect his finances. They shared an apartment lease. He moved his savings to a separate account and prepared to end the lease. Terrace also contacted Alexei through a fake social media account to learn who he was. Alexei was married, seeing Alina as his side fling. Terrace realized Alina lied to both of them, promising each something different. It fueled his determination. He didn't want yelling or drama, just justice. Terrace planned. He wouldn't just end the relationship. He'd make Alina face the consequences of her lies. He organized a digital folder with all the evidence, plotting every move. His pain turned to strength, and he was ready to act. Alina thought she had control, but Teres was 2 steps ahead. One evening, Teres placed a folder of evidence in front of Alina. They were at the kitchen table, and she just told him about her tough day at work. "Explain," he said calmly, locking eyes with her. Her face paled, her fingers trembled as she opened the folder. Photos, email screenshots, location data, everything was there. She tried to lie. "It's not what you think. It's fake." But he cut her off. "I know everything. 2 years. Alexei." Alina broke, sobbing, begging for forgiveness, reaching for him, but Teres pulled away. His voice was ice. "You made your choice." He stood, grabbed his things, and left. The next day, he changed the apartment locks and sent her belongings to her parents in a box. He anonymously sent Alexei all the evidence, including their emails. Alexei's wife got a copy. Alina was left with nothing. No Teres, no Alexei, no illusion of control. Her lies destroyed everything she'd built. Teres started a new life, stronger than ever, with a clear truth. The truth always wins.